All right, and we are live with another one-shot. This is our Christmas one-shot for 2022. We're going to do an Inspector's game, and we're going to just go ahead and continue off with the characters that we had in our little Halloween game recently, because we remember them. Our last Christmas game, which we looked back at my notes, and A, I had bad notes, and B, no one remembered that game. So I did a great job on that game. No one remembered it 2 years later.
Hey, we had fun.
It was very entertaining. I do remember that much. Alright, so continuing off of where you left off last time, I think you guys had 2 dice in the library card, 2 in the credit card, and not in. That's where I put everything.
We're a bit broke. Government,
you ran
wire
over
us some money.
Sorry, you ran out of the budgets. We actually, we're still finalizing the budget for 2023, and we're not going to have that budget actually finalized until we figure out the color of money in about, December or so of next year. So you're going to have to operate off of just whatever the existing budget is until this one gets ratified.
Well, you're going to have to operate with some ghosts on the street if you're not quick about it.
Yes, sir. I understand the situation that you find yourselves in, and it's not difficult. However, we must all understand, for the greater good of the United States government and the people in general, we must tighten our belts and make do with what we can. Very sorry to hear about your
999. Mach schnell.
I'm sorry, sir. I don't speak the words of the enemy.
Quickly, then. Quickly!
Sir, I will quickly hang up on you. And click!
I'll be right back.
Alright. So,
We are not getting the money.
alright, so yes, it
I
is.
may have ruined that.
Nah, he's just a low-level government underling. You can do whatever all you want. That's what they're there for. They're not like real people, Alright.
They're just lackeys.
Exactly. Alright, so it is Christmas time. Yes, things have been a little rough for you since Turin died. It seems like he must have brought a lot of the leads. He was a former exorcist, so he knew some folks who knew some folks, and he brought you guys a lot of your leads. And even though you are government funded, a lot of your funding is self-funding. Welcome to government work.
Well, and he also knew a lot of people who didn't make it.
It's true.
He had their money.
True. Yeah, unfortunately, that giant, Swiss bank account that he kept pulling cash out of that you did not know where that was from.
Failed exorcisms.
Yeah, exactly. And, you just, without him there, the bank closed it. You have been trying to figure that out since then. The floor's getting a little dusty. You're down to only a few of your former employees. You basically got, a dude who works in the kitchen of your, front, because you still try to sell pizza. Scooby Don't, Scruffy's dog, has been helping in the kitchen. However, that really has made your bottom line even worse than it used to be. Not to mention Scruffy also just popping into the kitchen and baking up 10 pizzas and eating them himself in one sitting. That doesn't help at all either.
That does tend to eat into the bottom line.
You've managed to keep the lights on beyond that, but yeah, things are rough at the moment. You kind of walk by Turin's old library area, you glance wistfully at the leather chair where he used to always be planted reading some esoteric book of nonsense and gobbledygook that only he understood. You have your own brand of gobbledygook and nonsense, but it's the stuff you understand.
Yeah, who is this Luckifer?
Exactly. And then you walk into your lab, a few too many fits of rage have gone by and you still haven't bothered to pick up all of the broken glass off of the floor. A few liquids dripping off of different countertops. And as you are, doing the Picard kind of oh my gosh, nose pinch, and wondering to yourself how you're going to get through this Christmas, you notice one of your steins. You have one wall that is completely covered by hundreds of decorated, carefully documented and classified steins. And one of these steins starts to vibrate gently.
What's wrong with my vintage 1954?
So you go up and you look at it, and stuck on the stein, in the cheapest yellow sticky note you could find, and written sloppily, almost as a second thought, is the name Turin.
Oh, that sly bastard.
No, if you remember from the last game, he showed up pretty quickly after you guys got home. You've captured him and put him in this stein so that he would stop creeping on you in the shower. Because he kept writing you messages in the steam on your shower because you have a glass panel.
That creep.
But it's starting to shake.
I knew I should have gotten a real shower curtain. All these ghosts hanging around.
The stein is starting to shake, and it's slowly making its way toward the edge of the shelf.
I'm gonna just watch it. Let it smash.
All right.
Go for it, Turn. Break out of there. You can do it.
So almost as if encouraged by your words, it starts to shake harder, and then it does in fact crash into the ground with a woo kind of noise, and leaving behind quite a quantity of spectral goop. I don't want to know what he was up to in that stein to have generated so much goop, but certainly something. But this is an encouraging sign. This means he's maturing as a specter. The fact that he can now actually put out protoplasm.
Is that nice? Is that nice down there, Turin? You like it? You like it outside of your vessel there?
You hear nothing, but you do feel like a breeze through your hair.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Not very nice being stuck in a gelatinous mass on the floor, is it? Doing you a favor here.
All right, Scruffy, you would have heard the shattering of glass from the kitchen.
I'm gonna kind of come in and like peek in, mostly just because I enjoy watching when the Dr. Ghostenstein has an angry fit and like just throws things everywhere. And like have like a pizza that's like half eaten, just like hanging out of my mouth, and I'm just like kind of pee in.
Alright,
Was machst du here?
there's a soft pattering next to you, and then
Der verdammte Turin. Acting up again.
Wow, man, he just like doesn't give up, does he?
Maybe Scooby not. What's his name?
Scooby Don't.
Scooby Don't.
Instead of Scooby Doo. Anyway, that's the best I got.
Maybe Scooby Don't is hungry for him this time. I'm getting tired of vacuuming this guy's goop up.
Yeah, garbage potato. I don't know where. I'm like I completely lost the plot. Ruby really wasn't why I eat
Terrible. I'd get out my handy dandy.
By the way, the pizza that was in your hands, Scooby-Doo just ate while you weren't paying attention. So you go to take a bite out of it, and you bite your own fingers.
Ow.
I reach to the right, and I contemplate briefly getting my Dyson Super Ghost Sucker XL, and then I decide to open up the glass showcase with my classic collector's edition Ghostbusters vacuum tube, fit with a backpack and everything, just so that I could do the whole shebang to suck Turin up, just like he likes.
Yeah, Turin, you know, as you start hitting him with the beam, he's still at a point where he's usually completely invisible. You know, you'll see basically snail trails where he's been, like going through walls. He'll leave goop now. That's a new thing. But as you hit him, you know, it does create like an outline around where he is, and yeah, he does look a little too excited for what's going on. Like, you are starting to wonder if he does enjoy it. You've never tried shooting yourself with, your backpack, but you're starting to wonder. Might be worth a shot.
Maybe test that out one night when I'm feeling a little frisky.
Turn on the string light.
All right.
You can turn on the string light.
And so you finally get that settled, and you place Turin in another Stein.
No, he gets the same Stein.
Okay, so
I just wrap it in duct tape.
just super glue it together. There you go. Just super glue the pieces back together. There's a few mechanical parts to it because it is a ghost holding container. It's not just a Stein.
50 euros! 50 euros one of these Steins cost to get shipped overseas. This is the third one. No more. No more for you.
Euro? Ruby, who wants to eat a euro? Oh, Ruby Rump wants to eat a euro.
Ruby roll.
Wants to eat a euro. Alright. So as you are yelling about that, you hear a sound that sadly has not been happening often enough. You hear in the office of one of your two. So you have two remaining employees. You got the guy in the kitchen. So there's basically this one guy running a pizza shop by himself, while trying to also shoo Scruffy and Scooby Doo out of the kitchen. And then you have your secretary. So you hear
like Little Caesars are actually run.
Pretty much.
That's pretty close.
You're not wrong at all. So you hear the phone ringing in your secretary's office. Gonna skitter over there to listen in.
No, good thing I have my handy dandy ear magnification gadget that I built in 1997.
Also called a cup to the wall.
Exactly. But it has Bluetooth.
Ah. What is the Bluetooth though?
Well, the Bluetooth lets you know that you found the thinnest part of the wall.
I see. All right, so you're listening in. Let's get some rolls. So let's start with Anna. Roll me 2d6. So I really want someone to roll a 2 first, because the result is.
I'll do my best.
You there, Anna? Heard some nice. She didn't roll a 2. No, you rolled 1d2. I need you to roll 2d6.
Yeah, I was like trying to type it in. Yeah. I had
So excited there for a minute.
You spoke it into existence. You manifested the 2.
Exactly. Guys, snake, guys.
Oh, I thought you meant a single 2 on any of the dice.
Could be 2 in total. There we go. That's actual 2. Alright, so that is a 9. Alright, Jason, 2d6.
7.
Anna, another 2d6. Only need another 2 from you. We got a 7. Alright, what you got?
12.
Wow.
They don't call me Elephant Ears McGee for nothing.
Alright, well, this has nothing to do with you listening in. This was just me.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. In this case, I was actually doing the random generation for your client. Alright, so you're listening in, and yeah, you can pretty much hear your secretary going, yeah. Okay, and tonight? Okay, yeah, we could, do that, I guess. Yeah, sure. How much? Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll be by in a bit. Okay. No, definitely. Okay. Alright, thank you. She hangs up.
Wow, she is not very informative on her side of the telephone.
No, not at all. All right, so then you hear some excited footsteps, and the door swings open. Is this door gonna hit you? Like, where are you listening?
Oh, it hits me directly in the face.
All right, so you're not paying enough attention to realize why she would be getting up and walking. So yeah, the door just immediately like smacks into your face.
Hi.
Ah, Dr. Gosenstein.
I was just coming in to see you.
I was just coming to see you. That's like such a coincidence. That is awesome. You know, when my horoscope told me that I was gonna be like hitting on an old guy today, I didn't believe it. And then it like totally happened. Well, not hitting like that, but you know, I like totally hit you with a door.
That's very nice.
Yeah, anyway, so I got a call from like an actual client.
Oh, you got a call. I totally did not know that.
Yeah.
What was it about?
Well, I guess there's this like factory guy, or like, I don't know, I guess he's not a factory. He like owns the factory or whatever.
I like factories.
Yeah.
They're
Anyway.
very efficient.
Well, this one I guess isn't that efficient because it's like closed down and like abandoned or whatever. And he's like really kind of just like trying to tear it down so he can build like a casino there. But like every demolition crew he goes in there has like these mysterious accidents or whatever. So he kind of needs you to like go in there and like clear it out. And then like, you know, he can build his casino and he'll pay us like a lot of money.
So you're saying that he will pay me to go take all of his hardware from his factory and bring it back to here?
Well, he did say that, like, because he's trying to get it, you know, like, destroyed or whatever, that, like, collateral damage is really not, like, an issue, so I guess stealing is kind of like collateral damage.
It does not go into him either way.
Yeah, that's, like, totally my thoughts on it, too.
I'm in. Even though it is the second night of Hanukkah, the tradition of my people, I will work. Because the one thing that my people likes most is working for money.
I'm going to specify which people here, okay?
No, Dr. Gosenstein is 1,000,000% Jewish.
All right. So Scruffy, you've come out of the kitchen with a second pizza at this point.
2 pizzas, actually.
Well, there were 2 pizzas, but then while you were like looking around and like, "Hey, Scooby, where are you?" one of them disappeared, and you're not sure to where.
But we all know where it went.
Oh yeah, the audience definitely saw Scooby. Don't just eat your pizza.
That wasn't the pizza that was on top of.
Going?
What'd you say?
It's just he was just saying, are we going somewhere?
To a factory. But that pizza you're eating, that wasn't the one on the second oven from the left?
I don't know, man. It was just a pizza that was hot.
Oh, it was hot. Yeah, that's probably not good, because I didn't turn that oven on.
Ruby Roll20 is Rose. You can see Scooby-Doo's bones through his paws.
Yeah, I thought I put a sign up. My bad.
Alright. And then a familiar-looking Stein comes rolling down the hallway toward you. Turns.
That Turin, get back in your slot on the wall.
It stops. Rolls a little closer, stops again. Starts to turn. Slowly rolling away directly against.
Okay, give me one good reason why I should take you on this mission.
So it excitedly spins back around, comes over, and then a little tiny piece of paper comes sticking up through the lid of the stein.
Where did you get it? Never mind. I take the paper and I read it.
It's very crumpled. a little sticky. We won't talk about it. But yeah, and it says I can see through walls. Or I can go through walls.
Okay.
Oh, you changed it.
What did we change?
Oh, I was just saying you changed what you said, because if he was just going to say I can see through walls.
Yeah. I mean, technically he can stick his head through the wall to see the other side, but yes. Now it said I can go through walls.
Got it.
That is very smart. Then we can find hidden valuables. Okay, you're in. You're recruited. Can't get rid of you, even after you're dead.
Alright, the stein pops open and you feel another whoosh as, some air circulates around.
I'll put the stein, hook it to my belt, take it with us just in case I need to stifle him for a bit.
Exactly. Alright. So, you guys are ready to pack up in the van, is that correct? Well, first, actually, so, two things. Because we're back to a normal game, A, sorry about, how much more railroady than normal the last game was, it kind of had to be. We're back to, freeform, right? So, you guys are back to being able to be I see television, and I can't be well, it's not on the map, so... I mean, that's a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There had to be some structure before. This is much more freeform again. Also, your confessionals and things will be able to do a lot more than they could in the last one. And we'll be following the whole proper structure. So, you guys just got the call. Next up is research and investigation, and you do get franchise dice toward your success for research. So, basically what you need to do is start doing some research. You'll do some research rolls. It will determine what you think is going on, give you some information about it. So you might look up the history of the location. Is it an ancient Indian burial ground? Did someone get murdered there? Basic stuff like that. Just research into, okay, what are the signs that people are seeing? What might it be? Give you some ideas before you get going in. So, let's start with Dr. Ghostenstein. What are you researching?
What kind of factory was it, and how profitable?
Alright, so let's get an academics roll.
3.
And if you would like to argue that science applies somehow, might be able to roll another one.
Science apply. Well, you can use the scientific method. 2. No, I don't think it does.
I would actually say, given your years of scientific research, you have tips and tricks that help you research faster. That would be how I would spin it.
I'll take it. I need it. Oh, and it didn't help. I still got a 2.
All right. So with a 2, that is going to be bad. Unfortunately, you will not get any franchise dice for that particular roll.
How hard can it be to figure out what a factory does?
Right? You'd think that. You start looking into the records, this plot of land, the address that you've been given, has no information. There are no blueprints, which have to be public because of fire safety and stuff. There's no blueprints. There's no information. There are no seller listings. There is no information on any sort of ownership. You even go and you look in the Google Maps, satellite view, and there's a patch of dirt. What? In fact, there is nothing around the address you've been given for a 2-block radius. On Google Maps, it looks like there are just streets with no buildings.
Something is fishy here.
Alright, so, what about Scruffy? What are you doing to research?
I'm going to go to restaurants in the area and talk to people while I eat.
So maybe the job wasn't for tonight. Maybe it was for like Christmas night, right? Of course, it's like the day of Christmas. And so you have a couple of days. So yeah, sure. Let's do a contacts roll. What was your specialization?
My senses are really good.
Well, maybe you're using your snifter, your snooter. Like I'm trying to think of a stupid word for nose.
Snout.
Your snout. To like sniff out the most popular restaurants by how good they smell.
Yeah.
You can roll an extra die then.
Cool. Should I just... So I already accidentally rolled 2. Should I just roll 1 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh! Aren't you glad you did?
Oh,
You
yeah.
got a 6.
Yes.
So with a roll of 6, you now have 2 franchise dice to get you started. And yeah, what do you find out? Like, you let's say you find a very ritzy upper class restaurant, and you and your dog change into chef's costumes, obviously to sneak in because you can't afford to eat there. But if you're in the kitchen already. And somehow nobody notices that Scooby Don't is a dog wearing a chef's hat, walking on his hind legs. I think someone would notice that. Nope. And you guys are in there, quality testing the soups. When you overhear a little bit of gossip. You hear that not that long ago, there were rumors about a really nasty murder that they found this guy in an old abandoned factory. And what had happened was and no one could figure out why there would be a tree in the factory. There was a giant tree, well, not giant, a large tree, like an old growth tree, right in the middle of a factory floor. And this guy had his entrails nailed to the tree and then been forced to march around it until obviously he pulled out his own intestines and died.
Ouch.
I did not make that up. That's a thing.
What?
That was a real thing. So anyway,
Yikes.
don't mess with druids.
I've heard of the, what is it, like Flying Eagle or something?
Yeah, that's a Viking one. This spread eagle or not spread eagle. What's it called?
Like that.
But yeah, I mean, I won't go into detail. Yeah, let's just say, people were and are pretty gruesome and creative sometimes. So anyway, that's what you find out. And you're just like, I think my appetite's been ruined. And Scooby Donut's like, roar for free! And upends a pot over his head, which is when you finally get kicked out of the restaurant.
Yeah, it tends to happen.
So immediately you're like, I think I need some ice cream to settle my stomach, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Grab some ice cream on the way back. All right, Dr. Ghostenstein, you still got some time to do some research.
I'm going to...
And you can assume you know anything she knows. We're not like that picky about timeline.
Yeah. I would like to look into the caller himself or herself.
All right. Hell, how are you looking?
Do we have caller ID?
So you can, if you'd like to, trace the number. It's pretty easy. You don't get a lot of calls. Well, you do get a decent number of calls. Just most of them are spam calls. Your secretary has ended up buying at least 3 different models of vacuums at this point.
Yeah, let's trace the call. I want to determine the identity of the caller.
Alright, so that sounds like a tech roll.
Luis. Five.
Alright. It's gonna get you good. You get 1 franchise dice, not too sadly, but not bad at all. And we are going to go ahead and you start looking into it, and you find a dead end. Obviously, you expected that. So you start, trying to look through the different layers of protection. It seems like this guy was using an IP phone and then was using a network of VPN servers to bounce his call around, but good for him. I know.
I found out that he's located very far north. Strangely far north. So far north that there aren't even phone lines.
It's very, very strange. You assume it must be like a satellite phone. Perhaps he's one of the researchers at the North Pole. Obviously they have ways to communicate with the outside world. Elite.
Interesting. And that was all I was able to get. There's too much fuzz.
Yes, this guy seems to have very carefully covered his tracks. If you weren't an expert, you would have gotten away. Alright, Scruffy. Yeah, you got some more time. What do you do next?
I am going to walk around
And look at trees and be like, is this the one?
Yeah, I'm just gonna just walk and just try to get as much distance covered around the area as possible.
Alright, that sounds like another contacts roll.
I was really hoping it could be athletics. And then can I roll an extra one because I'm using my senses to keep an eye out for all clues and stuff?
Sure. Look at that. That's another 6. Woo!
Scruffy's on fire.
Fire?
Ryder! Roll. Alright. So you go for your daily run. You have to run a lot. You get a lot. You end up running from ghosts usually when you go out on jobs. So you've just decided you need to be good at that. And it helps burn off the 8,000 calories you eat a day.
Mostly in Little Caesar's knockoff pizza.
Yeah. So you're going on your daily run out there with Scooby-Doo, and you run across a let's say a businessman sitting on a bench, looking very nervous as he's speaking too loudly into a cell phone. And what do you find out?
I find out that he is trying to broker a deal with a demolition company to tear down the abandoned toy factory. But
it's funny as I never said it was a toy factory, but it actually is. Legitimately, it was supposed to be, so that's funny.
There we go. Yeah, but the word has spread, and nobody wants to go near it.
All right. So is the new information there supposed to be that it was a toy factory?
Yeah.
Cool. Works for me. Alright, so it is now time. It is Christmas Eve, around 5 o'clock. The sun has set. this time of year. That far north, especially. And you guys are, sat in the kitchen around your holiday feast of yet another extra most bestest pepperoni pizza.
Gross.
It's all you can afford at this point. It's your own pizza. You're worried about developing scurvy at this point.
Wait, I think we should send Turin to do one last bit of research. See if he can find any ghosts in the area.
Alright, roll for turn. Alright,
Does Turin have a contact stat?
good.
He's not very cool yet, so...
True. Yeah, let's just roll on his old contact. That's a good idea. He has a contact of 1.
1. Nice. He's a very social ghost.
He does have demon hunting as his specialty, though, so I'll let you roll a second.
Okay, good, because that was a 1. 4.
Alright. So that's not nearly so bad. With a 4, he comes back, and you notice he's back because you're waiting for him. You're kind of looking out the window, and your breath starts to like frost up the glass, and then suddenly and unexpectedly, just a handprint appears in
Hello, Turin.
it. And 2 of the, or 3 of the fingers start to.
Very, very funny. Was hast du gelernt?
Alright, so he reports that there are no in the area around.
Stunzen. How can there not be ghosts? There's nothing on the map. We must investigate.
And then it says there's things.
What says that?
The writing that he's.
Oh. I was like, what is saying?
No, he's been presumably writing in the frost on the window
Okay.
or something, right? But yeah, so you see written, there are worst things.
Like what?
Literally actually writes dot, dot. And then the middle finger is back.
Proceed.
Hey, body.
Oh, interesting request. I've never thought about doing this before.
Give me tits.
Reanimating life. What a worthwhile endeavor.
Alright. So, now we are going to figure out what kind of gear you're loading up with. So at this point, you're going to be procuring the necessary equipment to deal with the problem. So it's going to be tech rolls. What kind of gear are you guys going to load up in the van? No, it's not ghosts now. Or at least according to Turin. I mean, I won't tell you too much about how trustworthy he is.
Yeah, I mean... Go ahead, Anna.
I want holy water.
Alright, let's get a tech roll. Unless you're procuring it from someone else, at which point it could be a contact roll.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the same for me either way. That's not bad.
Alright, a 5. That'll get you a franchise dice. Woo! So you go into Turin's office, and away behind all of the, bottles of scotch, you do find a few bottles of holy water. that still look to be in pretty good shape.
Nice.
They still give off a faint glow. If you hold it up to your ear, you hear the slightest. Oh. What about Ghostenstein?
How about a Tesla coil?
Like just an actual Tesla coil, or like a Tesla coil lightning gun?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of a Tesla coil for protection of the van, in case things go south.
Okay. So like an electric barrier generator.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Give me a tech roll. You can add your science to that, because I'm sure you scienced it up.
Already got a 6.
Nice. Alright. So you go ahead and you grab 3 mobile Tesla generators. So these are about the size of like an average backpack. About as heavy as one full of books. So not something you would want to necessarily run around in, but very much something you can schlep around. And then it just takes a few seconds to plop one down, activate it, and soon enough you have an arcing dome of electricity covering the area that is bigger than your van.
Ooh, this looks pretty. I flip the switch on.
Inside.
Yes. And then I start laughing maniacally.
Yeah. So immediately, electricity starts to crackle around the area. It's zapping and like connecting to all the devices. All the power in the entire neighborhood goes out, and your lab is even more wrecked than it was before. But you feel pretty good about that.
This works quite well.
Yeah, you're not going to worry about a few of those more worrisome steins that also got cracked during the process and are just like lying empty on the ground now.
Yeah, they're fine.
Hey, Turin told you there's no ghosts, so clearly you don't need to worry about any ghosts.
It's happened before, it'll happen again.
You ain't afraid of no ghosts. Alright, anything else? We can get another round of rolls if there's anything else people want.
I want to bring a katana.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Nice. Alright, that is another franchise die. You do, in fact, find your old katana. You brush it off, and it will dust it off a little bit, as you pull it out of the closet. The whole thing is painted in like a psychedelic flowery pattern that's kind of like light blue and green and like a certain van. And then etched into the blades are several names. There's Scruffy, Scooby Don't, Preb, Welma, too close, Belma, and Maffney.
Preb and Maffney. Those lovebirds.
Nice.
Reminds you of the good old days, but times are long behind you.
I had something that I wanted to bring and now I lost it. It'll come back.
Alright. Yeah, you'll definitely will be able to do tech rolls while you're out there. But do you want to do one more tech roll before you leave?
Yes. I want to bring the Ghostenstein 3000. It's a very special, uniquely designed Stein. And it's pure gold. It's shaped, it's got like a spout and like a cap on it and like a little base.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very similar to a lamp that would contain a genie. But it's got a trigger. And when you pull the trigger, the spout does the sucking. It's fully optimized for on-the-go, portable, ghost in Stein action.
Well, you do remember that, at least according to Turin, it's not a ghost.
Yeah, but it's still gonna come in handy.
Alright, go ahead and tech roll. Let's see how good this Ghostenstein 9000 works.
6.
It works as advertised.
And who knows? We might find a genie.
Yeah. And you are already up to 11 franchise dice.
Let's go.
So you're actually making some progress on solving this mystery.
Let's go.
Alright. So you load up into the van. Yasuka, your secretary, waves goodbye as you drive out of sight. You keep leaving Turin behind. He's a ghost, so he just goes through the walls as you drive away. And it's making him very upset. Every time you get to a stoplight, he's writing ruder and ruder messages in the dirt on your windows.
How is he catching up?
Very slow.
Well, you know, man, it would be better if you just rode in the Stein.
Another even ruder message about your mother.
This is the Cadillac of Steins. Gesturing vaguely at the Ghostenstein 3000.
Alright. Yeah, I don't want to go too crazy with just making Turin goofy while Abe is not here. Alright. So you guys make your way through, and you've long since crossed the good part of town. Good part of town. Michigan. Just kidding. But you've long since crossed the good part of town and are starting to get into the rougher areas. Not a lot of housing out here, but it's there's a lot of scrap yards and laundromats, and there are a few seemingly functional factories, which is very strange. You really don't see functional factories in the U.S. anymore. And then eventually you do come to the address, and strangely enough, just like you saw on Google Maps, it seems to be out past where the city was originally trying to set up an industrial zone, and they got a little bit ahead of themselves and built out space for more industrial, buildings than was actually needed. And so this factory is legitimately actually just like sitting in the middle of 2 empty blocks of dirt. However, unlike a Google Maps, the factory is there. You do notice that it has a brown roof the exact same color as the dirt, though.
Oh, tricky.
So you guys pull up outside of it. The entire thing is surrounded by a tall chain link fence topped with barbed wire. And there is a guard's shack out in front with a small light on, and there is one of those little, lifty blocking the
I know exactly what to do.
for it.
I'm going to makeshift a potato cannon. I'm going to load one of the Tesla coils into the potato cannon, and I'm going to launch the Tesla coil at the guard shack and activate it, and hopefully eliminate the electricity so we can get through the gate.
That sounds like a tech roll.
Can I roll one more because of the science behind a potato cannon?
I guess. That is pretty classic science.
I mean, that's like what I did for the science fair, literally,
Right.
in 6th grade.
You want any Ritz?
And I still got a 2. No thanks. I rolled 5 dice and I got a 2.
Alright, so you
That's impressive.
launch it, and you activate it too soon, blowing out the electronics in your own van. But it does, in fact, now set up a dome surrounding the guard shack.
Well, that's kind of good. Ish.
Probably. I mean, that sounded kind of like what you were going for.
Yeah. Except that now we can't drive the fucking van. Gah!
And I'm sure nothing dangerous is here. You're not going to need to leave in a hurry.
I blame science. I executed that perfectly.
I think we all blame science, honestly. cat just peeks up from the behind. It's like, why are you yelling at me? Not you, science! Science! Science!
Now get back in your cage. I'll deal with you later. I have spells to cast.
Yeah, she just flicks her tail at you and starts to claw at the headrest that she's sitting on.
When did you even get in here?
Ruby Ronshar! Ruby Ron, there you go.
Well, I'm glad someone has a sense of loyalty on this van.
You say as Science smacks you yet again with her tail. That makes her jump a little bit.
Yeah. Remember who's the real apex predator.
She just goes back to boredly looking at her claws.
Silly feline. You know what this Ghostenstein is good for? Chuck it at the cat.
The cat does finally actually scramble out of the way.
Okay.
Looks at you accusatorily from between two things that she's hiding.
So because of the cat, we cannot drive the van.
That is exactly what happened.
But I say we make a run for it and hop the fence while the guard shack is incapacitated. Unfortunately, I am 67 years old.
Yeah, running might be a challenge. But we know some people who can run real well.
Okay. So Scruffy and Scooby don't. You do the running, and I will walk casually, and you will distract them.
That seems like a good plan to me, man.
All right, good luck out there.
All right, let's get an athletics roll. All right, nice. 6.
Woo! They're quick.
We get you 2 more dice. So indeed, all of your years of like turning around to see a ghost 2 inches away from your face after it tapped you on the shoulder, and then just like disappearing in a puff of dust, coming in real handy right now. So you absolutely book it past the guard shack as fast as you can. Hop, or maybe slide under. That might be cooler actually. Slide under the gate. Get back up, immediately pick up running again as if you hadn't even stopped. You find yourself on the grounds of the factory, and you actually see a shape inside the window of the factory. It's hard to make out because there are no lights on in the factory, but it seems there's enough ambient light. You see a shadow crossing a window. And the shadow seems to be rather round, rotund, one might say, wearing a kind of a long, pointy hat. I feel like you might hear the slight sounds of jingle bells in the air. But then, as quickly as you see it, screeching violin music, and it disappears.
Thus, it cannot be.
Right,
San Nicholas.
Well, you didn't see it. Meanwhile, Dr. Ghostenstein, trying to look casual while carrying 2 backpacks full of Tesla coils on his person. He's wearing one like a fanny pack and the other like a backpack. And he's got out a fake camera and he's pretending to be a tourist. He's even wearing like a Hawaiian shirt. He's looking around like, oh, look at this! America is so great! And taking pictures with what is clearly a Stein and not a camera. But,
full of duct tape.
Oh yes, absolutely. But then as you get up toward the guardhouse, you notice it's empty. There's a small flickering light bulb, but you can see past the crackling electricity of the Tesla coil you fired out, and no one's in there.
May as well take back my Tesla coil.
You do indeed remotely deactivate it.
Okay, nice.
You grab your third Tesla coil.
Oh, that's odd.
It would be nice if Turin was here to carry some of that for you.
No one seems to be guarding the abandoned warehouse. I guess that tracks since it's abandoned. I don't know why we thought there were guards in there.
It's actually not uncommon to prevent looting.
Really? You pay guards to watch a shut down factory?
The guy who ran my softball team when I was a kid was actually a guard for a factory that had been out of business since before we moved to. Yeah. But it is a problem because people get in there and they like rip out the wiring for copper and whatever else. So.
But no one's using the factory.
People who own it.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, because if they like want to start it back up again or sell it or like.
Very interesting. That is an interesting fact. Well, I'm glad there were none of those stupid guards hanging around watching over nothing.
As you say that, you hear a click clacking coming from behind you.
Howdy, partner.
So he's been around, and you say that you see a very old, hunched over individual with a cane. Thus the click clacking. The cane is made completely out of like an old warped branch. He himself is bent over. You would think he's probably a little bit taller than you if he stood up straight. But he's about like this much shorter. Right? He's like 2 feet shorter than he should be. Completely hunched over, one hand on his back, other hand on the cane. He has this long beard that's just all the way down to the ground. It's filled with just like debris as it's been dragged along.
Merlin, is that you? My old friend.
What you say, Marlin? I ain't no fish.
Ah, my fault. I had you confused for somebody else.
Yeah, that's what all you young whippersnappers, he says to a 60-year-old. That's what all you young whippersnappers say. Now what you doing at the old toy factory?
Pictures.
I don't know why you'd want pictures of that horrible place.
It's American.
Yeah, you can't argue with it there. About as American as apple pie and guns.
Guns are American?
We sure like to think so.
Do you know about the factory? Why is it such a horrible place?
I know about the factory. I used to work there when I was a young man. They shut it down. Weird thing is, though, some nights people say they can still hear the machinery whirring along, just as if someone were still in there. Strange noises like the singing of folks. And out of there.
Did little folks work there when you worked there?
Well, there was Midget Tom. These were different times when we could call him Midget Tom, you must understand. Nowadays, we just call him Little Tom. But I guess he were more of a little person than a little person, if you catch my drift.
And were you there for the incident?
I don't know what you mean.
You know, the incident.
I heard about that, eh?
Yeah, what do you know about it?
The dark and stormy night, 1997. Whoever was elected president had just been elected president. And whatever music was popular in the 20s, well, I weren't listening to it. and whatever big name actor was still just a baby. See, back in those days, men were men and women were women. Trails off there for a few seconds, just uncomfortable saying women. Before eventually, he slowly seems to drag himself back to reality. What was I talking about? Oh yes, the incident. See, that stormy night had nothing to do with the incident! The incident was in 1824. On a whaling ship in York. You understand, boy?
Wow, you know how to take a story on a journey.
You gotta respect the knowledge of your elders and our inability to ever finish a story. Now, where was I?
Now this is my kind of story.
Oh yes, the incident. Now, you understand, factories back in that day, they weren't like they are now. They weren't full of robots and what's-a-who's-it. People had to go in there and do the work the hard way. And well, the boy fell into the boiler and died. That's the incident. I'm sorry if that was boring.
Well, I thank you for the long and winding tale. That was not the incident of which I speak.
Oh, which incident did you mean? You got to be clear, boy. When you're as old as I am, you've known so many different incidents in your life that you might even say that you were an incident of
Incidences.
Incontinence. Shut up, I'm old.
No, I would like to know, about an incident involving a tree and, entrails?
Sounds like the work of fairy folk, if you ask me.
Fairies? Are they like ghosts?
No, they're like lawn gnomes. Ever seen them lawn gnomes with their beady eyes and their pointy hands? Just wait. Stick and wham! That's the kind I'm talking about.
Well, it's been nice talking to you. I'm so glad I wasted all this time talking to someone who thinks lawn gnomes are alive. I'll be going about my business as a tourist in America.
I'm warning you, when the lawn gnomes uprise, you'll be the first to go, and they'll start with your eyes. Your eyes, I say, as he slowly backs away.
Huh. Start touching my eyes. I'll keep an eye out.
Alright, so Scooby and Scruffy, while all of this has been going on, you've already long since made your way past the security gate, running way too fast to notice that it's empty. And are now inside of the grounds. The whole thing is this kind of mushy, cold, wet, like mixture of dirt and grass, and it's not pleasant here. The factory itself is this large, monolithic, completely rectangular building, about 7 stories tall. It's quite tall. And it just looms up above you, casting a shadow with the moon, obviously. Of course, you being used to wandering around old Gothic cathedrals and, abandoned amusement parks and the like, looking for ghosts. Your eyes pretty quickly adjust despite the lack of any real source of light that you can ascertain. But, the audience needs to be able to see.
Classic.
Right. So what do? You're now on the grounds inside of the fence.
Going.
Have I caught up to Scruffy at this point?
No, you're still being waylaid by the old man.
Cool.
I'm gonna start seeing if there's any open doors or windows.
Okay. So you go up to it, and sure enough, it's not too hard to find a few broken windows that you could try to climb through if you wanted to. And there are some doors, one of which is slightly ajar. Because it's made out of recycled jars.
How far behind me is Dr. Ghostenstein?
So you look back behind you, and you really can't see him. He must have rounded a corner or something. But he did say he was going to catch up, but he warned you he had slow old man legs. So
I'm going to peek inside the door.
all right. You peek inside the door, and the whole area inside, it appears to be some sort of a back entrance into a loading bay. The door itself is basically a small door inside of a giant garage door that opens up and is about like 3 stories tall, and wide enough to drive like 3 semis through. And I guess it's not in the garage door; it's right next to it. And inside you see various crates and other kind of difficult to make out shapes, most of them covered in large tarps.
I'm gonna go back and help Dr. Ghostenstein carry stuff.
Alright, you head back, and you are getting back there just in time to see an old man yelling about eyes while he backs slowly away.
Scruffy!
Whoa, man, what was that about?
Don't mind that old kook. He believes that lawn gnomes are going to rise up and take our eyes?
They only start with the eyes!
Nah, man, he's got it all wrong. Garden gnomes are like our friends. You can always trust a garden gnome. But they can keep all your secrets.
But can you trust the lawn gnomes?
I mean, it's kind of like asking if you can trust your cousin. The answer's no.
Well, we best get moving into this factory, especially because there's no guards to stop us.
Whoa, man. And I did all that running. Now I'm hungry.
Ruby won't be hungry. Ruby wants a Ruby match.
In a confessional, Dr. Ghostenstein says, "Yeah, I figured this was gonna happen, so I came prepared." And he pulls out a pocket-sized inflatable microwave oven and astronaut food.
Nice. Whoa, far out, man. This is like what astronauts eat.
Yes, would you like some astronaut food like you're in space?
Rah, rah, rah.
Here's some astronaut ice cream, also known as congealed sugar.
You are not wrong. Alright.
Yeah.
So, quick snack break. There is another little bit of a musical stinger, as in one shot there is a garden gnome sitting on top of a fence directly at you.
Uh-oh.
Alright. So, you guys head into the factory.
Do you see its eyes glint?
Oh, yes. There's a moment as the eyes just... There's a car drives by, and as the taillights go by, there's this red glint across it, and then darkness.
Furbies, rise up!
Exactly.
We were just talking about how creepy Furbies are.
Right? They're terrifying. I mean, I feel like that's where they got the idea from Gremlins from, except made them, like, less furry.
Less furry, more evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys head in through the gate then.
Yes.
So you already know the entrance that Scruffy found. So I'm sure he would have told you about it. Would you like to look for a different entrance or head in there?
Let's go with what we know.
All right. So you push open the door, the metal protesting loudly as the rusted hinges are forced to move in what must be the first time in a very long time. The echoing of these grinding noises, of course, going throughout the entire building. For a moment, you hear the soft snapping of footsteps. Over all the other noises, it's impossible to be certain.
Turin, is that you?
In the dust, you just see another sneeze, just like, and there's just like so much ectoplasm just splattered everywhere. And there's just dust now covering the outline of Turin. So you can actually see him for the first time in a little while.
Ah, you're looking skinny. We gotta get some meat on your bones. Have some ice cream.
He does eat it, actually. Throws it in there and it's just floating around.
Progress!
It's an excited jazz hands.
Okay, so what do we see in the factory?
Alright, so once again, you are now in some sort of large loading bay. There's a large area that goes up about 3.5, 4 stories that you are currently in. Flanked on the sides and front. So the back, of course, is this enormous garage door. Like I said, like 3 or 4 semis could drive through it with no problem.
Right.
And it's 3 stories tall. This thing has like this enormous, like beefy motor. I mean, it looks like it's something that could open a castle gate, right? Like this huge motor that goes to spools that have these enormous, like braided metal cables that then would pull the door along its tracks. The door itself, like if this fell on you, it would crush you to death. You'd be gone. And then along the sides and the back are balconies. So every floor, of course, there's a floor there that ends and there's railing. And then in the current area that you are in, the loading bay, there are all of these like crates and more difficult to make out shapes under tarps.
Let's pull back some tarps.
All right. So you pull back the first tarp. And you step back with a gasp as underneath this tarp is a like 20-foot tall Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Whoa, dude. Alright. It's like a dinosaur.
I'm gonna take a closer look and see if I can find the electrical input to power the animatronics.
Very easily. And this T-Rex seems to be a pretty advanced model. You feel like you could ride on it if you powered it up and kind of removed its control box onto its like neck or something.
Maybe on the way out. Okay, what about tarp number 2?
Alright, so you yank off another tarp, and inside is this huge open-topped crate full of toy soldiers. And every single one of them is missing an arm, and there's a few branches mixed in there.
Spooky. Unfinished toy soldiers.
I was actually referencing our last Christmas game, the toy soldier that got pulled away by the trees, and it ripped his arm off because we were holding his arm. Like, how me? And we're like, nah, screw you. We don't care about
We don't
you.
care. Have fun in the creepy woods. I do remember that part.
Yup.
Oh man. Okay, is there a lift of some sort to get to the top floor?
Yeah, so flanking either side, there are lifts that take you not only to those floors that are open, you only see about 4 stories up, and then there's a floor. You can see that the elevators actually go past that, and you know the building itself is probably about 7 stories.
Let's try one of the lifts.
Alright, so you get on the lift, and you see it has a dizzying array of buttons. Most of them are negative numbers, though.
negative numbers.
It only goes up to 7, like you would expect, but it goes all the way down to negative 45.
Scruffy, what do you think? Should we go down or up?
Dude, I think we should go all the way to the bottom, man. Because we gotta get to the bottom of this.
It's hard to argue with that logic. Although, there was no logic. Okay, I'll hit the negative 45 button.
Alright, so you press the button, and you get a slight electric jolt, and you see that the button itself, so the label's next to the button, it's not on the button, and the button itself seems to be missing. In fact, all the negative number buttons are missing. So is number 7. All you have is floors 0 through 6, but not floor 4.
What? Okay. Are there stairs anywhere that I can see?
Not that you can see, but you assume there must be somewhere.
Let's try and find some stairs, because this lift is broken. It doesn't go down.
Alright. So you start looking around for stairs, and you find yourself wandering. So which way are you headed? So you're currently in, we'll call it the north or south side of the building. Call it the south side. It's rectangular, so it's wider to the east and west, and then north is thinner. Still wide enough that in this darkness you cannot see, even down like a hallway that you would assume is clear, you can't tell, because it just ends in darkness. And everywhere are just this landscape of long shadows cast by some unseen light.
Let's go towards the north side of the building. Straight back.
Alright. So you start heading further north into the factory, and you find yourselves going through a pair of fire doors that open up into another cavernous space. This one's significantly larger than the last. And it is this enormous, almost, it feels like a cityscape. Some sort of steampunk cityscape of boilers and barrels and pipes and conveyor belts just stretching off, way off to your left and right, so the west and east. And you cannot see past it to the north. There is the entire roof seems to be made of glass, but of course it's been covered in dirt and grime over the years, so the little bit of light that filters through is much less than you could wish for. And way off.
Did you see that? The ice just like melted and it toppled over just out of nowhere. Spooky.
It's a ghost. They're here for us. They don't want us telling their secrets. So way off down to the west, you can hear the sounds of something mechanical.
Let's follow the sound of the mechanical whirring. There should not be mechanical whirring in an abandoned factory.
So you go down, and as you're going, the mechanical noise grows louder. You can hear some sort of stamping machine going rhythmically, the grinding of some sort of gears turning, and what sounds like some sort of furnace blasting. And as you're going, you do indeed start to see way off some light glow out of one of these strange looking machines.
Let's get closer, see who's operating this machine.
Alright. So, you continue to approach, and as you get right up to it, at this point you start to walk by the conveyor belt, which you can see is snaking and just an absolute madman's path through everything. There's no sense to this layout that you can ascertain. Going over and under and around things, seemingly at random angles, and eventually snaking off down toward the north side of the factory. But you see a conveyor belt moving along, and on the conveyor belt, porcelain
Gnomes.
are gnomes. Are you a gnome racist?
I am.
No, you're just gnome colorblind. You know?
Well,
you're so non-racist, you don't even see the differences, man. Everyone is the same on the inside.
I just know that sometimes people take it a little bit personally. You call them a garden gnome.
Yep, I mean, that's why you got your funding cut last time. So,
Okay, interesting.
do you continue on toward the machines that are running?
Yeah,
Right now
I
you're
want to
just
go
by the belts.
Well, I want to go. I want to grab one of the gnomes and see if there's anything weird about it.
All right. You pick up the gnome, and it feels pretty hefty. Probably more so than you would expect from a hollow gnome. So perhaps it's solid. But definitely heavier than what you would expect given its size. It's about 2.5, 3 feet tall.
It's a large gnome.
It is a large gnome. Less rotund than you would expect from your average garden gnome. Kind of more slender. It is wearing a jolly outfit, just as you would expect. And looking at it, it doesn't look like the others on the belt. In fact, as you start looking at these gnomes, these are clearly not like stamped out of a mold, unless they have a lot of different mold shapes. Each one of them looks unique.
I drop the gnome in surprise
All right.
and take a step back.
It shatters into a million pieces, and you hear as it shatters a low keening noise, just other than the echoes.
I quickly pull out my Ghostenstein 3000 and see if there's any ghost that maybe could be the cause of such sighing.
All right, let's get a tech roll.
Come here, ghosty, ghosty, ghosty. 4.
All right. So, you don't detect signs of ghosts, actually. If they're extremely weak. Probably weaker than even Turin is at this point. Perhaps about on the level where Turin was when he first started haunting you, where he could barely affect the world around him. You're in your hurry to pull out your ghost detector. You manage to dislodge the battery case. Batteries fall out and roll away underneath all of this machinery. Lost. Like it would take you days to find them.
My batteries! How's my Ghostenstein 3000 supposed to operate without Bluetooth and batteries? Now it's just a Stein! Just an old-fashioned Stein, only good for storing ghosts and not capturing them.
Sag. Maybe you'll have to hotwire it to one of the Tesla banks. It's too powerful!
Scruffy, did you, what are your thoughts on these gnomes?
I think, man, that like we just need to talk to them like friends, man. I'm sure they're friendly. Maybe they're just hungry, like maybe they want a snack, man.
They seem inanimate.
Nah,
Didn't you see it shatter into a billion pieces? A billion!
that's a lot, man. I
What
think it's
living
just
thing is
pretend.
made out of a billion distinct pieces? Only all of them.
Whoa,
And as
that's
you're
deep, man.
deliberating,
Hey, that one looks like him. Scruffy, that one's you. Let's take him with us.
You do, in fact, find a scruffy-looking gnome that looks pretty scruffy.
Whoa, man, it's like my brother.
Should we take him? You want to take him? We should take him.
I think we should take him, man.
So you grab him, and as you're kind of looking him over, you notice that the sounds and machinery start to die away, and the last few gnomes pass over the belt, start to disappear into the mess of other belts.
So there was an end to the gnomes?
Yes, the gnomes have stopped coming. Now the belt is still running, taking the gnomes wherever it's taking the gnomes, but no more are coming out.
Maybe it's not a production line, maybe it's a transportation line.
It could be.
Oh man, I think we should follow and see where they're going.
Okay, that's a good plan. Let's put Scruffy back on the line and let him guide us.
All right, let's go.
Let's go, little me. All right. So, you guys, are you riding the belt, or are you trying to walk along with it?
I'm gonna try and walk alongside just because I don't know that I have the athleticism to mount the conveyor belt.
I'm actually going to need an athletics roll for you to try and follow along the belt. So, like I said, this thing is like wandering through the entire factory layout with no rhyme or reason. It's going over things, under things, around things, doing loop-de-loops.
Scruffy can help them up.
So you're gonna help me onto the conveyor belt? Or you're gonna help me navigate the factory?
I was gonna help you up on the conveyor belt.
Okay, that's smart.
Alright, then roll your athletics, and you can give one of your dice to Jason. Jason, you still need to roll athletics.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so my athletics was 4, so I
You roll 4 dice. You roll 4 dice, and then you are going to give one of those dice to Jason, which he can use in his result. Nice.
Cool,
So this
I
works
can
out
give
great.
him one of these 5s.
Yeah, now this works out great because your roll, you lose that die, your roll and what happens to you because of it is still affected. So let's say you rolled a 5 and 3 ones, and then you gave Jason the 5. That would mean that you now got a 1.
Yeah.
So having multiple 5s is great for you because you're able to give Jason a 5. Both of you get a 5.
Both got 5s. Let's go. Teamwork makes the dream work.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you a couple more franchises for those 2 5s. You are able to climb up on top of the conveyor belt, and it starts snaking through this whole thing. And again, it strikes you how very much this feels like a city. Not like a factory, not like machinery. It is clearly machinery, but there are little doors for no reason. Maybe they're for feeding in coal or some other fuel. You know, why are there random openings that look like windows? Like, it's very strange. This really does feel like this strange combination of being a factory and also a village at the same time, or a city would be more accurate. You're given quite a bit of time to think about this as you're going slowly down this conveyor belt, and it's taking you, around these enormous columns that you imagine must normally, if it were operational, be belching smoke, and down through these different areas. There's drainage areas, there's walkways, the whole shebang, and eventually it starts to take you off past the factory floor, and as you think you're headed toward the door to the north, suddenly and without warning, it dips down at not quite a 45-degree angle, probably like a 25-degree angle, fairly like steep, but not like rolling down the stairs steep. And it starts to corkscrew counterclockwise. Downward and down. At least at a certain point you start to assume it's downward because you have no way to gauge the direction. You can kind of be like, it's like tilting down still, I think, but
Could just be going in circles.
Right. when eventually, finally, you see a pinprick of light ahead of you, which starts to steadily grow until you can see that the belt comes out about 10 feet away from a wall and then drops like 30 feet.
Oh. Think fast, Scruffy, what do we do?
I think we should get up. Is there like a floor or anything near us?
So as you approach the edge, you look and there are platforms, some sort of like railing, like a landing area, next to the belt that you could jump off onto.
I think we're gonna do that.
Alright. So you guys jump off, tucking and rolling, just barely managing to keep Scruffy Jr. from, resting in pieces, shall we say.
What happened to all the other gnomes? Are they down there resting in pieces?
So you look out, and it's a large circular pit, almost like a grain silo. And at the bottom, there is a huge pile of gnomes just stacked haphazardly. Somehow, they are intact.
Oh. Does Scruffy Jr. have a place for electricity or batteries?
Oh, you mean like the gnome, does it have like a socket or something? No.
Okay.
But there is what appears to be some sort of control panel on his back.
Okay. I'm not gonna push any buttons just yet.
You do notice a few things that it does have. It has a temperature gauge and some sort of like it's giving you status on something. Not sure what it would be.
Is it like a number readout or like a dial?
It's like, it's clearly not like a heartbeat or something, right? It's not doing like or anything like that, but it looks similar, where it's like a line, like a seismograph.
Okay.
Where it's giving you status as some sort of a line, and currently it is a single uninterrupted. You assume is normal.
Or deceased status.
Yeah, or deceased.
Okay, interesting. I want to look in one of those doors. Are there any doors around where we hopped off the belt?
Not where you are currently. There is a ladder leading upward toward a walkway, and you definitely do see some doors there. And then the ladder also does continue down to the floor where the pile is. Harder to tell if there's anything down.
Scruffy, how about you go down, and I'll go check out the door that's up.
Smart, split the party.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, man.
Alright.
That's what Scruffy and Scooby Don't would do.
That is very accurate. Alright, so you can't even though I feel like we should swap them if that's the case, because you would be looking at the interesting thing. He needs to go find the kitchen.
Yeah. And in this case, I guess I'm the new Freb.
Yeah, Freb and Belma and
Rip Freb. Welcome, Dr. Ghost.
Every once in a while, Scruffy still calls you Freb, and you like, oh, poor boy.
It cuts away to Freb's funeral. What a sad day.
Yeah, and then it cuts away from looking at the coffin to looking at Freb disguised with like the glasses with like a mustache and a nose at his own funeral.
And he says endearingly, "Oh, you meddling kids."
Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and reverse that, because I feel like that is more accurate. So Ghost and Stein, you suggested you go down.
Okay,
Scruffy
I'll
goes
go
up.
check out the gnomes.
Alright, so let's start with Ghost and Stein. So, Dr. Ghost and Stein, you head down to the pile of gnomes and start looking through it, kind of pushing a few out of the way, and you definitely notice one of very unusual size. Most of these gnomes are, like I said, about 2.5, 3 feet tall, fairly slender. There's one figure that seems to be about 8 feet tall and built like a sumo.
Definitely gonna take a closer look at that.
Alright,
Is it under like a pile? Is it?
It is
just
partially buried.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start just haphazardly pushing gnomes off the top of the pile.
Alright, so you push some gnomes away, and you notice that unlike the others, this one is not wearing a jaunty outfit. This one is in some very embarrassing pink underpants with little cartoon, I don't know, Powerpuff Girls, whatever. So I'm just trying to come. So he's wearing pink Powerpuff Girls boxers.
Cool.
Bearded, all white hair, not very jolly looking, pretty dour actually, but part of that might be the giant fake eyebrows and mustache that are sharpied onto him. And across his entire body are a series of pretty crudely drawn tattoos, spouting phrases like "I stink" and "kick me."
Okay, this time I am gonna look for the control panel. Does it have the same kind of readout?
It does.
Are there any buttons?
There are buttons, and a few knobs and dials as well. If you do try to interact with any of them, though, they seem to be non-functional, but there is some sort of a slot for, like, a key.
Oh, a key card. Do I have a key card?
You stick your hotel key in it, and the thing gets spit back out, shredded into a million pieces.
Oh no. So we have to find the right key card.
Alright, so, Scruffy, meanwhile,
Interesting.
you and Scooby-Doo, who somehow inexplicably can climb ladders just as well as you can, have made your way... What was that?
I said obviously.
Yeah, of course. It's a very talented dog, question mark.
I was just watching. Have you heard of Inside Job, the Netflix show about conspiracy theory?
Mm-hmm.
It's just an animated, funny show, and the premise is that all conspiracy theories are real, and there's a shadow government that covers it up.
Nice.
And one of the episodes was that Airbud is real.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to kill Airbud because if Airbud was left alive, then dogs would develop opposable thumbs and become so good at basketball that they take over the planet Earth.
Nice. So
and it's like a planet of the apes but dogs.
Hilarious. It's like we were watching Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, the Jenkins and I, for Halloween, and that's actually a joke they did, where they'd be like, "Please take your dog outside," and Scooby-Doo would be like, "Wrong? Where?" And they did that joke like 5 or 6 times.
That's
Anyway, so you two, Scruffy and Scooby, have climbed up into the higher area, and unlike the rest of the factory so far, there's actually a few lights on here and there. And you go wandering around, and eventually you find yourselves in an honest-to-goodness kitchen, and the entire kitchen smells like heaven. Christmas decided to do each other and had a baby. Don't know why I put it like that, but I did. Anyway. So, there are like entire cauldrons of hot cocoa bubbling on the stove. There is gingerbread as far as the eye can see. There are like every Christmas treat you can think of. You open the refrigerator and there are just like entire gallons of eggnog. Creepy laughter from Abe.
We're going to start eating everything.
Alright. So, you start eating, and, it's typically, distracted, not really, paying attention to your surroundings. You're just absolutely stuffing yourself, baking up more foods. You found, like, a meat, what do they call it? The big, like, fridges where meat hangs on hooks.
Isn't that a meat locker?
Might be. Anyway, you find one of those with entire like hams hanging from them. You start throwing those in ovens, trying to figure out like how many hams you can eat, per second, essentially. All right, so Ghostenstein, you've determined that your one and only key to your hotel room did not work.
Yikes.
You're gonna be sleeping in the lab tonight.
Do any of the gnomes have a key?
Not that you can find.
Okay, best go regroup with the party. I'll go back up.
You start climbing when suddenly your very fancy science phone starts ringing.
I'll answer it.
Bubba, why do you never call your mother?
I hung up.
It's Christmas Eve, Bubba.
I hung up the phone.
Starts ringing.
I declined the call.
Your second phone starts ringing.
I pick up the second phone.
Sweet little Ghostenstein, you never call your mother. Don't you love me? She went more Italian this time.
Dr. Ghostenstein is from a very multicultural family. That's why he can never have the right accent.
Exactly.
Ma, I'm on a mission.
You're always on a mission, sweetheart. Come on, can't you wish your mother a happy Christmas for once? I understand things are tight for you. You can't buy us gifts. That's okay. We just want to hear from you. We want you to visit.
Frohe Weihnachten, Mutter. Now go tell Papa I say hello.
Papa's been dead for 20 years.
Yes, tell him I said hello. He's sitting on your shelf. I've told you 1,000,000 times. You don't believe me.
It's just a vase, sweetheart. It's not your father, it's a vase.
He's looking right at you. I can see his face as we speak. He's looking right at you. Goodbye, Mother.
Click. Hey, was that Ghostenstein? Were that our boy, Margaret? Yes, that was our boy. Now go back on the shelf. I told you, you're dead. I'm dead, Margaret. I ain't gonna be dead. I'm gonna dance on your grave, woman. I don't know why he's a cowboy, but okay.
He's like southern United States. She's from Italy. He's got a French/German accent.
Right. All right. So.
Okay, I continue to climb the ladder.
Alright, so you make it up to the ladder, and you actually end up stopping about a floor shorter than where Scruffy and Scooby went, and start poking around. So, Scruffy, back to you and Scooby. You are stuffing yourself when you feel a tap on your shoulder.
We're gonna turn and look.
Alright, you see a rotund figure wearing nothing but a few scraps of what look like seaweed to cover his dangly bits. The figure is just way fatter than any human ever could be. This huge bulbous head with these eyes like lamprey eyes, just bulging out of his skull, and huge sharp teeth grinning wickedly at you.
Whoa, man, it's Cousin Lenny. Cousin Lenny, I told you not to eat so much.
Cousin Lenny shouts horrifyingly and loudly in your face, splattering you with some sort of goop.
We're gonna have.
And he has a mouth big enough to like bite your head off, which is what he seems to be going toward doing.
We're gonna have typical cartoon sound as you're like getting ready to run.
I know what you're talking about.
All right, so typical pandemonium ensues as you're running one direction. Dr. Ghostenstein somehow never sees you as you're running through different hallways, and he occasionally walks through scene from one door to another, but never notices anything. Meanwhile, you guys are chasing him, he's chasing you, you run into each other, there are pots involved, and various trap doors go off. And eventually you find yourself sliding down some sort of chute, like a trapdoor and then a chute, right? To some unknown destination. Meanwhile, Dr. Ghostenstein, you find yourself looking through an area of the facility that is significantly better upkept than the rest of it. That you've been through so far. You haven't seen the kitchen, obviously, otherwise that would be like a whole other level of what the heck? And you find yourself wandering through a what looks like either the room of a teenager or a 40-year-old virgin. It's one of the two. The entire thing is covered in so many plastic collectibles, mostly Star Trek and Star Wars from what you've seen so far. There are entire life-sized cardboard cutouts of every single main character that has ever stepped on a Enterprise. Several of the female characters look a little worn.
Shlomo, is that you?
And you find yourself in front of a huge it's gotta be like 120-inch television. It's big enough that it's like, why is this not just a
projector?
For a theater, right? Like a theater projector. But yes, a projector. And it is running Star Wars Episode 2?
The prequel.
Or is technically of the Episode 5.
Episode 5 is I Am Your Father.
And there's currently you currently see Luke disguised as a bounty hunter, definitely not using the dark side of the Force to choke some pigs.
That didn't happen in Episode 5. I know.
It's whichever episode that happened in. So he's breaking into Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Is that Episode 5?
I don't know which one that is. I'm a fake fan. I'm not even pretending to be a fan.
I hate those movies.
Whatever episode it happened in.
Star Trek movie did Luke break into Jabba the Hutt palace?
What?
Which episode? Star Trek movie or Star Wars movie? It says it's episode 6.
All right.
Episode 6.
Oh, right, because Han
needs
gets
to be
frozen.
corrupted.
Han gets frozen in carbonite in episode 5.
5.
Yeah, in Episode 5 is
They
when Luke
rescue
gets his
him in
hand
6.
chopped off.
So it is. Anyway, it's that scene. He's breaking into Jabba the Hutt's palace. He's force choking some pigs with definitely not the dark side of the Force, etc.
No way. I mean, Force choke is just like a Force push. You're just applying the Force push, which is the good side of the Force.
That's not how the rules.
I always wondered that.
And that's a thing the fans have wondered too. And the question is, did George Lucas do it on purpose or not? Because this is George Lucas.
If it were George R.R. Martin, it would not have been on purpose.
Right. So, anyway, that's what's going on.
Okay, I'll take a look around. Is anyone in the room? Is there like a big chair that is like central to the big screen?
There is, in fact, a very... It's not oversized exactly. It's a big, comfy, like, lazy boy style chair, but it has the clear outline of a fat man. Just, like, in it. From it, just, like, someone sweaty and greasy sitting there for days at a time. You're pretty sure you can see a little outline where his adult diapers let him not get up and use the bathroom.
Yikes.
speaking of bathrooms, you also see an open door into a bathroom.
I bet I smell it before I see it. Okay, but no sign of anyone being there recently?
Recently, I mean, just the movie being on is a pretty good sign of recently. And the door to the bathroom, there is still steam coming out of the bathroom, so that's pretty recent. That's like minutes at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna snoop.
Alright, where are you snooping?
I'm gonna snoop. I'm gonna try and find where he keeps his movies and collectibles. And...
The answer is everywhere. You've been having to walk around all of that stuff this entire time.
Oh, wow.
Like, multiple, and it doesn't even, it looks like if someone got their hands on a dormitory and fill it with just their stuff.
Okay.
So there are multiple rooms, and all of them are full with this crap.
Well, I'm looking for a key card.
So where are you looking for the key card?
I guess I'll start in the bathroom.
Alright. So you head into the bathroom, and you find the most regrettable pair of jorts you've ever seen. Rifling through the pockets and planning on burning that hand afterward, you do in fact find a key card.
Oh my goodness, my luck. Well, maybe not so much, but... okay, I'll take a look around beyond just the jorts. How big is the shower in there? Is it like human-sized shower, or is it giant-sized shower?
It's like big enough the figure you found earlier, the one in its underpants, could fit in it.
Interesting. Okay, well I have my key card now. I'm gonna head back to the pit.
Alright. So you're just about to head back to the pit when suddenly you hear a scraping sound, so you're back in the room with the television, and you hear a scraping sound, and a door in the roof opens, and someone and their dog fall into the seat.
And their dog.
Their dog.
They're
hugging each other, and yes, it is Scruffy. So,
that's my phone.
I was like, what did I drop?
It fell out of my pocket.
So that's what cases are for.
Yeah.
So yes, Scruffy and Scooby-Doo are hugging each other and whimpering, and they come sliding out of the roof and smash down into the sofa in front of the television.
Scruffy! Scooby!
The teeth and it's slobber and run!
It's me!
As you hear that, as he says that, a very rotund figure, significantly smaller than the one you saw, in the sculpture or whatever it is down in the pile. This one is probably about 4 feet tall, but man, he is so round, he's making up for it. He's trying to catch up to the other guy in pure mass. And he says, actually, I am Santa Claus.
Actually, I am Santa Claus?
No, because if you were Santa Claus, then I would not be Santa Claus. I'm afraid I am the one and only Santa Claus. Now, if you could please stop standing on my 1957 collectible action figure of He-Man, I would very much appreciate that.
Well, that's funny because if I'm Santa Claus, this is my 1957 He-Man.
Well, if you would like to fight over the title of Santa Claus, I would be happy to kill you.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that kind of title. You can have it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, what are you doing in my house and in my my kitchen?
Kitchen? House? Oh no, we're not here. We were just leaving.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. If you could just see yourselves out before anything regrettable happens. As you can imagine, for Santa Claus, I have a very busy night ahead of me.
Yes, because it's Christmas Eve.
Oh, look, Captain Obvious has arrived to enlighten us all. I appreciate it, good sir. Now get out.
I'm gonna file a complaint with the employment board saying that you are acting anti-Semitic.
Well, I am sure they will love to hear about how you, a Jew, found Santa Claus on Christmas night. Yes, this story will go great. I will see you in the local funny papers, or as they say, the loony bin.
Yeah. Okay, bye. Scruffy, come on.
Scruffy follows.
He plants himself into what you can see now is a very familiar contoured shape in his chair.
So that's
And you
obviously...
try not to think about any of the noises coming from the chair as you walk away.
That is obviously not the Santa Claus. That is a gnome that has taken over the role of Santa Claus. I think that's much as clear. But I found the real Santa Claus.
Whoa, man. That's deep.
Let's go bring him back. I hate that guy.
Oh yes, Princess Leia, please do.
Okay, follow me. I'll lead Scruffy back to the pit.
Alright, so you guys head back down into the pit, and yeah, everything is more or less how you left it.
And I'll slide the key card into the other big thing. Gnome.
The one you assume is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So you slide the key card in, and now the buttons activate, and you can see one of them is to unfreeze.
Definitely that one.
And you push the button, and just like Han Solo out of carbonite, you see a casing around the figure begin to slowly melt / flake away, and a limp but still clearly alive Santa Claus flops out.
Santa?
Oh, yes, it's me.
Oh, good.
What happened? Last thing I know, I was telling Neville to shut up about his dang cartoons again.
Well, I think Neville, you called him, goes by a new name now. Perhaps Santa Claus?
That rat. I always knew Neville was a bad egg, but to do this? Oh, Jeremy, Jingle, Bells, Leonard, Picard. Oh, my poor elves.
Picard!
Look, after Neville said that name for the 1000th time, I couldn't help but name someone after him. He does have that fabulous bald head. Not all of us can have these glorious manes, he says as he flings his head around, and his curly locks shake everywhere. Well, I suppose I'll have to deal with this. What night is it? I'm joking, it's Christmas. Who do you think I am?
You actually sound just like the Ghost of Christmas Present from the Muppet Christmas Carol. Have you seen that?
Yes. That's hilarious.
Oh man. So Santa, or may I call you Nick?
Yes, you may.
You are the real Santa. Pardon the rude question.
Oh, perfectly understandable, young man. And of course I am. Look at this. He puts his finger to the side of his nose and sparkles happen, and Neville is standing in front of you, doing something.
Doing
Neville, cover your shame, boy. Santa, great to show up, Neville. I know what you've done, and you're on the naughty list. No, Santa, don't! Naughty list!
And he just transforms into a block of coal on the spot.
Pretty much. And yeah, so he transforms into a bag of coal, slowly melting away, and says, but now I will never know the touch of a woman. Oh, is that enough proof for you?
Indisputable, I might say.
Oh, treat for you two for saving me. And he once again now touches the side of his nose. I mean, you got it from the one poem, right?
I don't know that one.
It's the one where it's like,
My Jewishness is showing.
So there's the one. I mean, I feel like you've heard at least part of it, where it's twas the night before Christmas. When all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse, blah blah blah, right?
That's about as much as I know.
Yeah, well, anyway, in that one, he does magic by touching the side of his nose.
Oh.
So that's what I'm doing, in case you're wondering. I'm not just being.
Oh.
Or that was the mouth. Anyway, Dr. Evil or whatever from the Austin Powers. Yeah, that guy. Mini me. Anyway,
$1 million.
Exactly.
That's not very much money anymore. $1 billion.
All right, so anyway, Santa Claus does that again, and all of the cookies and eggnog and hams that you were trying to eat earlier, poof, in front of Scruffy and the Scooby-Doo, so they can start going to town. About you, young man, what do you want for Christmas?
Oh, what do I want for Christmas? An A-bomb? An H-bomb? Every letter of the alphabet bomb.
Of course you do. I think, though, I have something better in mind.
Oh no, what is it? Is it a Z-bomb?
Z-bomb. You need whatever the bomb is from Adventure Time that just creates the Lich King and like kicks off a whole new age.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he says, "Now, don't you know it's naughty to stay up on Christmas night?" And he once again touches the side of his nose, and you guys reappear back in your Little Caesars.
Little Caesars? That's not a gift at all. That's like a punishment. Is there a tree in Little Caesars?
Sure, there's a tree in the Little Caesars.
Is there an arrow on the tree pointing to the forbidden door?
Nope.
Damn.
That's in the bathroom anyway. It would just be pointing to the bathroom.
Are there gifts under the tree?
There are gifts under the tree.
Do any of them say they're from Santa?
They all say they're from Santa. Every single one of them.
Oh, those tricksters. Mom and Dad, you got me again. I'll open the one that says, to Dr. Ghostenstein.
Alright, so you start tearing it open. And inside is the perfect gift for your mother.
My mother? Is it my father? In the flesh?
Hey, boy, how did I get here? But your mother and father do pull up in a large black limo outside of the Little Caesars and come walking in.
Am I determining the gift, or are you determining the gift?
Sure, what's the perfect gift for Dr. Ghostenstein's mother?
The perfect gift for Dr. Ghostenstein's mother
Is glasses, so she can actually see her husband.
Neville's adult diapers, since he will no longer be needing them.
It's perfect for me, sweetheart. Thank you.
It's just the right size.
It's just the right size for my flabby old woman, buddy. Look, I can even tuck my nose into them.
Oh, but look, inside the box, there's another box! And it's A laser gun!
No, so sadly, poor Dr. Ghostenstein is feeling all left out. Gifts for everyone else seem to be in place. There's some sort of a complete beauty kit for Yasuka. There's a new pizza cutter for your kitchen boy that you just call Kitchen Boy.
Kitchen Boy.
You haven't learned his name yet. You're starting to think it might actually be Kitchen Boy.
Does he have a digital readout anywhere on his body by chance?
Nope. There's a never-ending cheeseburger for Scruffy, and a never-ending box of Scooby snacks for Scooby. And
Scooby, don't! Scooby's now the size of Neville.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a blimp at this point. So is Scruffy. And Dr. Ghostenstein is just starting to feel left out. There was even a little tiny ghost sweater made out of ghost yarn for Turin.
Ghost yarn.
Yeah.
Very cool. Who figured out how to weave the ectoplasm?
Must be Santa.
Magic.
Indeed. And Dr. Ghostenstein is, trying not to look disappointed, but he's getting a little mopey, and he heads back into his lab. And there, in the very center of his lab, is the perfect gift, which is...
The Ghostenstein 4000.
Yeah, exactly. The Ghostenstein 4000, or, well, the parts for it, and a few helpful hints on a partially complete blueprint. I wouldn't want to take the joys of, discovery away from Dr. Ghostenstein.
This number, could it be the time coefficient required to transverse realms and get the ghosts directly at the source? By Jove, it is!
Alright, and the camera slowly pulls away, lights and laughter coming from the Little Caesars, a few very disappointed looking customers standing outside in the cold, as Dr. Ghostenstein gives them the middle finger and turns the sign over to closed and locks it loudly in their faces. And the snow coming down, and they're going past the moon, a figure in a sleigh with several reindeer. Oh, Merry Christmas!
And you can see the flashing and buzzing going on as Dr. Ghostenstein is trying out his new contraption.
Exactly. There we have it. Christmas has been saved yet again.
Merry Christmas, Scruffy.
Merry Christmas, Dr. Ghostenstein.
More like Merry Christmas through the good cheeseburger.
A very small boy that you didn't notice in the corner before just is like, Merry Christmas, God bless us, everyone.
Thanks, Timmy.
Get out of here, Timmy! You don't get any pizza!
They killed Timmy!
Shoot him with the Ghostenstein 4000.
Yeah.
It doesn't... It captures ghosts or makes new ones, depending on the target.
It's the perfect
I
weapon.
was about to say, I was like, if it captures them at their source, doesn't that mean it like pulls the soul out of the body?
Yes.
Exactly.
It gets the ghosts in the future, while it is currently within the corporeal form of the body.
There you go. All right.
That's why we needed the time coefficient.
Exactly. All right, well, that was our Christmas game. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I know I did, and I will see you guys all at the next one. Bye!
Bye!